Welcome, Muppet babies, to Geek Salad's Retro Movie Reviews from the Geek Salad Podcast. I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
I'm Katherine.
And we continue our Month of Muppets with the third movie in the Muppet canon, The Muppets Take Manhattan. Of all the movies released in 1984, this was one of them.
83?
It's 84.
Okay. It was released in 84. The
Yeah.
numbers in my book are 83.
Oh. Yeah, it came out the same glorious year as Ghostbusters. So, but it's also, out of all the Muppet movies, I know like they all have like their own type of little throwback to the era that they were filmed in. Like, I feel like the Muppet movie is a very 70s movie. There's a lot of like little 70s, 80s bits about the Great Muppet Caper. This movie feels like it was released in 1984.
I mean, honestly, you just need to look at Piggy's hair.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. For any of the movies, you look at Piggy's hair and you know what era it is.
Yeah.
Miss Piggy's hair in this one is 80s up the wazoo.
Yeah, the very early 80s, late 70s, getting into. Yeah, she basically has the same hair as Meg Ryan, and early in
early when Harry Met Sally. Yeah, early 80s Meg Ryan hair like that. Yeah, actually no, that was her hair was very reminiscent of 1989 or 88 rather. Meg Ryan in When Harry Met Sally. A lot of curl.
Oh yeah.
But it did look like one of those early 80s perms that, like, I know my mother had. I don't know if your mom's did or not, but my mom totally did.
I don't think my mom did, no.
My mom did, I did. I think I talked about this on the podcast.
That's on the Christmas episode, actually.
Yeah, nothing like a fresh perm and a menorah to have a fun time.
As it was written.
Like the menorah, not my hair.
Yeah. We get 2 extra days for that. So, again, just like last week, where we had a week in between watching them, as opposed to like substantial amounts of time between watching these movies. Did you find yourself judging this movie against the other two? Because again, it's only been a 2-week period since we've watched the other two.
This is also the very first time I've ever seen this movie all the way through.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen like clips here and there, but I've never seen the whole thing all the way through.
Yeah, I saw this in the theater.
Yep, saw this in the theater, and I often binge watch them. It's been a little while, but like just go plow through them. Or just be like, I'm in a Muppets Take Manhattan mood today. I'm in a Great Muppet Caper mood today. That doesn't happen very often.
Yeah. Actually, Katherine, you and I might have seen it in the same theater because my aunt took us to see this, and they had just moved to Boxborough.
Okay.
It was entirely possible that we may not at the same time, but definitely saw this movie at the same theater.
Yeah, probably my dad took me to see it in Acton.
Okay, yeah, that's probably where we went to go see it. I'll be blunt about this, guys. I remember this movie being a lot better than the movie I watched the other day.
Well, part of it is that it's like taking that very, the Muppets do well when they take an old story and to a Muppet twist on it, which is what they do. They take the thing that Judy Garland and Mickey Rooney did a lot of times 80 years ago.
Yeah.
And did a Muppet version of it. It's like, young kids are going to take Broadway by storm.
And then they run into Gates McFadden and Dabney Coleman.
Yep.
and then they have trouble along the way, and people lose faith, but eventually it all turns out okay.
Yep.
But yeah.
What was funny to me was actually striking about, and it's just because it's such a product of its time, it was striking to me to see somebody actually smoking cigarettes in a family film. Like, Dabney Coleman is just railing butts
yeah.
in this. And it was just like, Well, that's something you don't see every day anymore.
Nope.
One thing I did notice that was really weird about this one is that, Muppet Movie and to a certain extent, Great Muppet Caper was all about how the Muppets are like coming together. Here, it's like, let's start off with a movie by breaking them all apart.
Yep.
And just focusing on Kermit for a good 75% of this movie.
Yeah.
It's just Kermit, basically.
Yeah, it's Kermit. Well, it's like the idea is that you have everybody's together and it's like, let's do this thing on Broadway, and it turns out, hey, that's not easy, and everybody kind of loses faith and is like, we got to get real jobs.
Yeah.
And Kermit's like, you know what, you guys talked me into this, and I'm gonna keep trying, and so like everybody else leaves.
Yeah.
And except for like Piggy looks like she's leaving, but of course she doesn't really.
Right.
But he's doing the struggling actor thing, working at a restaurant, trying to get the show to be made.
Yeah.
I do have to say though.
Yep. I'm sorry, Mike.
I do have to say, Pete. I think Pete was kind of the unsung hero of this movie.
Pete was great.
Yeah.
People is people.
People's is people's.
Jenny, on the other hand, was just kind of like there.
Yeah, she's generic 80s positive girl, and just
I like her, but she was really just kind of there to be a support system for Kermit.
I had to look up her name. I couldn't remember her name. That's like.
I mean, because Kermit, he's like kind of on his own. He needs someone there to, be his like sounding board.
Right.
Yeah, he needs that, and he, who doesn't do the people's is people speech, and also to be a costume designer to help him with like his wacky plans.
Right.
And eventually do the show.
Those
pre-trial John Landis, by the way, in that.
Yeah, those wacky plans were very cringeworthy, though.
Yeah, it was. I felt like a lot of the situations they put themselves in, like there's a lot of like fun banter throughout the movie, but the situations themselves just kind of felt like we have run out of ideas. We gotta, and it kind of shows because we didn't get another Muppet movie until 9 years later, or actually 8 years later. When unfortunately that was after Jim had died.
Yeah, well, they kind of, they did a trilogy. The TV show was over, and like a lot of them wanted to go on to different things.
Yeah.
Like Jim Henson, like puppets were a means to an end for his creativity. It wasn't like he really loved and lived for puppetry.
Right.
Well, that's why that's why he started to look at like, is there anybody that wants to buy the Muppets?
Yeah. Yep. And the weirdest, like, they're owned by Sony, they're owned by Disney, they're back owned by Sony again. Then they're back to Disney again. Now they're permanently with Disney.
It was really weird to see that Pegasus. The
TriStar logo.
Yeah, that was so weird to see that at the beginning of this movie. I was not prepared for the TriStar logo.
No, and you know what the funny thing is? I don't know if either of you have watched Matilda on Netflix yet. It's a TriStar film. So we sat there and we're gonna watch it, and all of a sudden it's like, ba-ba-ba, and the horse is running. And Autumn and I just do like that, like that meme of Leonardo DiCaprio in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. We're both like, I haven't seen this in ages.
I honestly thought TriStar was like gone.
Well,
not yet. No.
Well, but TriStar also released Muppets Take Manhattan because distribution deals were different. I'm trying to remember who actually released the Muppet movie and the Great Muppet Caper now. Ooh. All right.
Hold on, I got him kind of here.
All right, someone will look it up. I mean, so I agree, Mike, with you that this is more of Kermit's story. However, Piggy insists upon herself in this one.
I
mean, there's a reason why. What's that?
I did not mind her as much in this one as I did in Great Muppet Caper.
I may have actually. I'm definitely the reverse on that. I felt like there was a lot of, you're getting Kermit. You've won Kermit back, but what have you really done? You've done nothing. You've stalked him.
Yeah.
And
it's just they keep trying to make the Piggy and Kermit thing inevitable.
And the thing is that like this movie, I feel, is the reason why Piggy shows up on a lot of like top 10 worst Muppets. People just do not
really?
like her.
Yeah, I don't like her, but I know people who really like her.
Yeah.
She's hugely popular. In the early days of the pandemic, I did I paid to watch a thing. It was a fundraiser for a hospital where Bill Barabbas, sorry, I'm forgetting her name, the woman who voiced Prairie Dawn, and Frank Oz did like a little chit chat thing.
Yeah.
And we live streamed that, and that was fun. And everybody's like, "Do Miss Piggy," and it's like, Miss Piggy's not Frank's anymore. He can't do her unless he's being paid by Disney. And he's retired mostly from stuff.
Yeah.
So he did Grover instead.
I'm fine. If he could have done Yoda, and I would have been happy.
Caper was Universal, and a great Muppet movie was ITC Films.
Yep, ITC was the company of Lord Grade.
Right.
ITC did all of the Muppet Show.
Right, like that would show up at the beginning of every episode of the Muppet Show.
The end. Yeah, that swirly thing. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. You guys continue with what you're doing. I have to go check. I think my kittens have gotten into some mischief. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Yeah, Piggy is a weird one because I don't like her. She is easily probably my least favorite Muppet. But I also don't think you could do the Muppets without her. She fulfills a role that you don't like, but you need to have.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, she's a pivotal character. She drives things, but she's annoying as crap.
Yeah.
Because they have the song "You Can't Take No for an Answer." Yeah, that's Piggy all over. She doesn't listen when she's told no. She's just like, I'm going to keep persisting until I wear them down and get a yes, which is terrible.
That is a terrible lesson to teach kids. Yeah.
Well, although that's also kind of odd because that song was not her song. That was Kermit's song, I think.
No, that was the
Dr. Teeth.
Electric Mayhem.
Right. At the beginning, yeah.
Yeah. But that song's in the movie, and it is definitely a central part of Miss Piggy is just not hearing no.
Yeah.
Right.
And you got to have the muscle there too.
Yeah.
And when you don't have Sweetums, you got Miss Piggy.
Right.
Yeah,
when you have Miss Piggy, you have Miss Piggy doing something and a very obvious stunt, person in costume.
Oh, the roller skating. As soon as you see like the legs pumping, I'm like, wow, HD does this in film.
Didn't even try. It's
they do like. They do things at a distance, but they've done Piggy, and there's several sequences of Piggy was a person in a costume in the Great Muppet Caper.
Yeah.
And they didn't make it better. But it's not like they had CGI or anything where they could just make a person, we want to do this sequence and this is how we're going to do it.
Right. But I did feel like they were doubling down on a lot of like, okay, we did this for this last movie. Let's see if we can do it better in this movie. Like Scooter riding a bicycle.
Andy, do you know what sequels are?
Yes, I know.
You take something that worked and you do it more.
Yes. I will say, talking about taking something that worked in a sequel and in a movie and doing it more in the sequel. I don't know. I just did not care for this crop of cameos. Like there was some fun stuff in there, but these were
like Gregory Hines
cameos.
Oh, I love Gregory. That was easily my favorite.
Gregory Hines' cameo was awesome.
Yeah,
a lot of fun.
Roller skates.
Yeah,
you know what?
He just likes running around in shorts.
Yeah, skates. I just like running around in shorts.
It was weird too because like there were like some people just kind of showed up quickly, like those quick little cameos, like Gregory Hines, Elliot Gould as the cop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
he had a bigger role in the Muppet movie.
He did. But like the extended cameos that they gave, like James Coco doing that whole thing with Rolf.
Yeah, I
that was rough. That was
didn't-
like, I know people found him. He was, you know, he was very much a product of the '70s era.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the poor man's Dom DeLuise, and then he lost all the weight, and then he had no worth to Hollywood anymore. But
Joan Rivers.
well, yeah, I was
I
saying
think
that
she's fun.
I don't know that it just felt like they came out of nowhere and went nowhere, and then they're both fired.
Another kind of blink and you miss it cameo that I did like though was Brooke Shields.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she was fun.
You ever date a rat before? I mean, my last date was a rat, so yeah, okay.
I have dated some rats. No, yeah. Do you believe in interspecies relationships? Well, I have dated some rats, if that's what you mean.
Oh man! And if the internet was around them, they'd be scouring the internet to figure out who she meant. All the salacious things. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, this movie just didn't.
Liza Minnelli there.
Oh yeah. I know this movie just didn't do it for me the way that the other two did, and it's disappointing because I remember loving this movie. So going back and being like,
I still generally like it better than the Great Muppet Caper. Like the Great Muppet Caper has some decent moments, but
yeah,
I feel like this story holds together better. And of course, like, you know, the He'll Make Me Happy song is just like, I get all weepy because that's like what I think about getting married and stuff. Like that's my song.
I do think that song is my favorite one on this one in this movie.
Yeah.
I think in general this soundtrack is stronger than Caper, but for me, nothing in this movie reaches the highs that was Happiness Hotel.
Right.
I mean,
I feel like Happiness Hotel is a good fun song. I like the He'll Make Me Happy song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I got a lot of emotions tied up in it.
Right. And then, comparing it to anything Paul Williams did. I mean, the worst song in the Muppet movie is still better than the best song in Muppets.
I don't know. The Piggy song in the Muppet movie, that one's not as good as Happiness Hotel.
Oh, well, no, I was comparing it to the Manhattan.
Oh, song. It's not as good as He'll Make Me Happy.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, because for me, Piggy's song in the Muppet movie is entirely forgettable.
A lot of that also has to do with the fact that it's got a great montage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think I agree with Katherine in that the story of this one is stronger than Muppet Caper.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I prefer Muppet Caper because, while I do think they went overboard in the fourth wall breaks, I do like having some fourth wall breaks in my Muppet movie, and this one had none.
Yeah.
Not a single one, and I missed it. I think that's it. Without it, it felt like it was lacking something that Muppet movies should have.
Yeah. I think they could have, if they'd been able to find a spot for it, they probably could have done something. But
yeah. And the other thing too is just the integration of actors as their, you'll have a couple of human actors that are there for the whole thing.
Yep.
And Charles Durning in the first movie, Charles Grodin and Dame Diana in the second one, and then it's just like, okay, I like Pete a lot, but it's like I had to go look on his IMDb. I'm like, okay, he was in Fiddler on the Roof. It was just like I don't know. It just kind of felt like
you know what. Speaking of Fiddler on the Roof, you know who could have handled Pete's role really, really well? Tevye.
Topol.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Topol.
Yeah.
The smoker's tooth polish. Yeah.
Yeah.
Catherine got the reference.
I got the reference to Topol, and I was just flashing back because I watched Flash Gordon last year.
Oh.
No.
And he plays Dr. Crazy Man.
Every time we see the Topol Eddie clip from the movie of Fiddler on the Roof, Autumn points out he is 38 years old in this scene.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good job.
But yeah, I just felt like this in comparison to the other two, it just kind of felt like a little more minor league. Like they had already laid the ground. Now they've tread upon it enough where things needed to go in a different direction, just entirely for the Muppets. I mean, we saw that. I mean, we got the Muppet Babies scene, which, forgive me for, I totally forgot that Muppet Babies scene was in this movie until I watched it.
Oh, okay.
That song, I remember liking that song a lot. Oof. It is one verse that is repeated 3 times. But it did spawn a very popular Saturday morning cartoon.
A Saturday morning cartoon that I watched religiously. All right.
Yeah, me too. That show was great.
That show was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And
it's funny too, because I was watching with Autumn, like when we had remember I told you last week that when I hadn't watched this movie in years and I got it from a cereal box and it was just like, it was a DVD. Great. But I can't play on my DVD player. I had to play on my computer. And we're watching it. I'm like, where the fuck is Skeeter?
Yeah.
There is a robot chicken about that.
Oh. And now you're going to make me look that up.
Yep. Yeah. There's a robot chicken. I know what you did last summer.
Oh.
Peter.
It was funny too watching it because it's like the puppets are adorable. But it was really weird because the way that the camera moved, you could see rigging. Like anytime they had one of them dance, like there's a scene of Rolf, standing on 2, and he's doing that, and they shift the camera. I'm like, there's the rig right behind him.
I knew the rig was there because that's the only way they could have done that shot. I didn't,
because he doesn't move his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, but it was just like, oh, like I have grown, and I know that like when Disney got all the Muppet stuff, they digitally erased all the sticks.
Yep.
But but I had grown blind to those anyway. They're just simply part of the character.
Right.
But like watching something like, oh, that is blatant. No, this I think was Frank Oz's first directorial.
It was, yeah. He wrote the script, and he also, it's like his directorial debut.
Right.
I guess Henson would have done it, but he was kind of tired of directing after doing Muppet Caper and Dark Crystal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the script they were coming up with, there was just too much for Kermit to do, and again, yeah. It was just,
that makes sense.
But yeah, he also gave, Frank gave Kermit a lot of different things to do. So, Jim had a lot of fun exploring different ways to put, the different things with the character.
Yeah. Well, Frank Oz is actually a co-director on Dark Crystal as well. So
yeah,
it's like his solo directorial debut.
Yeah. One thing that I think Andy and I agree about, and I don't know about Catherine, I think she might disagree, but the whole amnesia plot twist with like 20 minutes left of the movie.
Yeah.
It felt
you need, well, and I was talking about this earlier with my husband, and he points out that like, Kermit, they go, he believes in the show, everybody loses their faith and leaves. And then he continues to believe and actually makes it happen. They all come back, and so the thing that has to happen is that they have to lose Kermit.
I agree with that to an extent. Yeah. I just feel like where the amnesia portion of that was placed, they could have made at least half of this movie about the amnesia, because it essentially is a quick 10-minute timetable between, all right, we got the show, boom, who am I? And then, going to do the soap thing with Phil and Gil and Lil,
Jill.
Jill, which is a great gag. I really enjoyed that gag. Something from the grill, Jill? No, thank you. Fish makes me ill.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would have preferred it if maybe like he was in the coma or something, just something.
It was also like the early 80s and soap operas were full of people getting amnesia.
Right. Yeah, I
but
have no problem with the amnesia storyline at all. Honestly, and they could have wrapped it when they wrapped it, but it needed more because I knew it was coming. I had to like pause because bathroom break or whatever. I paused. I'm like, there must be at least another 45 minutes left. There's 20 minutes left in this movie, and that's including credits.
Yeah, all in all, the entire amnesia bit lasts maybe 12, 13 minutes.
Yeah,
but it's a at best 90-minute movie. And so it's like their second act break, the way it got placed doesn't work.
Yeah.
You have to have your second act. Oh my god, everything's gonna go to hell. How are they gonna save it? Kind of situation.
I almost feel like had they front loaded the stories of what everyone was doing instead of kind of interspersing them through that second half of the movie. We could have seen the thing with Rolf and James Coco way earlier in the movie.
Honestly, it might have been a pacing thing.
Yeah.
Honestly, the whole James Coco thing, I would prefer not to have seen.
It went on far too long.
Yeah, seeing him at the dog kennel was funny enough, but then you brought in him, and it was like, I don't like this joke. I don't find it funny. I don't want to see it anymore.
And that was one of the extended cameos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, overall, it's definitely not the worst Muppet movie.
No. Not even by any stretch.
No. But it's just like
I'll still say I still think it's better than Muppets Most Wanted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Muppets Most Wanted isn't great. I think it's better than Muppets from Space, which I do enjoy, but
I've actually never seen Muppets from Space either.
It's okay.
Yeah, I saw Muppet Treasure Island like on TV at some point, but
I'm still waiting for you to rewatch that and come back to me and be like, you're right. 2 songs on the boat that contribute nothing to the story is way too much.
I was gonna rewatch it, but you know what? I gotta rewatch something else instead.
Oh gosh, and you don't have the time to watch. Yeah,
of course
like watch it at some point when you have absolutely nothing else to do, and you're like, I would like to punish myself.
Yes. Okay. So I guess that leads us into next week's movie. So next week we are taking a big leap, and we're skipping the other 3 Muppet movies that followed this. We've already done Christmas Carol, so we don't have to worry about that.
Yep.
We're not covering Treasure Island. We're not covering Muppets from Space. We are going to go to the bygone years of 2011, and we are going to review The Muppets. Next week is to close out our Muppet month, our month of Muppets. So now, yeah. Anything else about Muppets Take Manhattan before we wrap?
We skipped the rats.
All right.
I'm so glad we got more stuff with Rizzo because I love Rizzo.
Yeah.
The rest of the rats were fine. They were fun. But it's basically Rizzo and the rest.
Yep.
Yeah.
But they do have that big sequence in the kitchen where they're doing, Steve Whitmire's busting out his scat, which he's pretty good at.
Yeah.
And I was reading in my book, how they were doing that, and it was like they tried instead of pancake batter, they tried like different kinds of paints that actually like ended up destroying things. So they're like, let's just use pancake batter. And when the rat is, skating on the grill with butter, they like tried a bunch of different things. And then Jim's like, why don't we just try butter? So that is real pancake batter. That is real butter. because
Jim Henson, ever the visionary.
They were trying to use things that were like, this will work better. It's easier to work with than food, and they're like, crap, food looks better on camera.
My God, he was like the anti-James Cameron. It's like, hey, we just, we can make it look realistic by using the thing itself. Oh, and by the way, I'm not going to try to get my actors killed because I hate actors. So
kind of reminds me of when they were doing the Ghost of Christmas Past and Muppet Christmas Carol. It's like, we got this type of baby oil that's perfect, it flows great, and it's way too expensive. We got to use water.
Yep.
So anyway, that was, I agree with you. I liked seeing Rizzo a lot. Rizzo's a character that kind of grew on me. I wasn't a big fan of his, like in the early going, but I've grown to really enjoy Rizzo a lot.
I think his big breakout role was easily Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Like he'd gained some traction in the movies, and then Muppet Christmas Carol was definitely a breakout role for him.
Yeah, his interplay with Gonzo was stellar.
Yeah.
Level, so good.
So, nope, that is Muppets Take Manhattan. We'd love to know what you think about it. Please comment below on your thoughts of the Muppets Take Manhattan. Where does this rank in your Muppet rankings? Is this one that you've watched recently? It's weird because it's not on Disney Plus. You can find it on Amazon right now. I watched it on Epix. It's just a weird where you find this. There's another Muppet movie on there too, and I can't remember which one it is. It honestly might be Muppets from Space. Yeah. I don't think Muppets from Space is on Disney Plus.
Probably not. Yeah, but I just dragged it out of my Muppet DVD collection. Which
right, exactly. Because of course, I'd be disappointed if you didn't have that.
And then we watched the Liza Minnelli episode.
So yeah, it
was a good episode.
What's that? Yeah, no, I love Liza Minnelli, especially like 70s Liza Minnelli. Mm-hmm. So anyway, we will see you next week when we talk about Muppets 2011. But until then, don't forget to check out all the videos that we have here. If you're new to the channel, hi, welcome, and thank you for joining us. Don't forget, smash that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up. Again, leave a comment below. We'd love to know what you think about this movie, even if you haven't watched it in a while. Also, you can follow us on social media on Geeks on Twitter, Hive, and Mastodon at Geek Salad Radio, and on Facebook at Facebook at Geek Salad Podcast.
Exactly how much sleep did you get last night?
None. Goddamn wink. So, what do you think I'm doing after this? So, anyway, until next time, I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
I'm Katherine.
Go forth, be nerdful, and look both ways before you cross the street, because amnesia.
Yeah.